now only one provision, that is if you have stayed in India for more than 182 days, you will be a Indian resident. Now, let me clarify you what I mean by this residential status and what it has to do with your income. A residential status is just to determine the residential position of a person, and it has nothing to do with what income you have earned. So there is a lot of confusion regarding all this, and many of my clients also ask me कि अच्छा मेरा residential status तो non resident हो गया है, तो now my income is no more taxable in India. But that is not the case. So you should note it very clearly that this provision is only to determine what is your residential status in India. So for seamen who is living on an Indian flagship, as mentioned, it is in Indian ship, which is clearly written in my explanation. So for an Indian flagship, which is as per the provisions of this Merchant Shipping Act, uh, for your 60-day criteria, it will be read as 182 days, and very well you will be termed as a non-resident if you have spent more than 183 days or 183 days on your ship, means outside India. We will be talking it in detail in our coming slides, but for now, this is the clause. Again, we can also see there is one. I have just copy pasted the relevant uh, paragraphs of Income Tax Act, because if I will paste all the Income Tax Act, then that will be irrelevant for you. Coming to
Uh, Anmol, can we just give an example when you said out of India, Indian flagship? We also sail on foreign flagship and which keep coming to India also. And we join in Mumbai, Chennai, or other ports like that. But here you are talking specifically of a Indian flagship, the Indian ship as per the MS Act first.
correct.
And if I join an Indian flagship in Mumbai and go to US, and then I keep moving around in the world and come back to Mumbai and disembark after, let's say, I should not say it is a too long period, it will be a too much of a controversy though, but let's say after 7 months or something like that. So in that way, how do you explain me the status of my during the financial year, let's say March to next April to next March, rather I should say.
Uh, that is a genuine doubt which everyone must be having in their minds. Let me clarify you this. See, you have left the port on an Indian ship. So whenever you leave your port and whenever you board a ship, you get your CDC signed,
True, we get a CDC entry or the date of joining of
date
the
of
vessel,
joining
date
the
of
ship
signing off, and the port.
and the port.
Yes.
Uh, there is a very a subjective explanation to your question, because in every scenario my answer will vary. In your case, as you said ki you have left from Mumbai and you went to Australia on an Indian flagship, and then you came to India from Australia only. So this is an eligible voyage. We will come forward in our next slides to our rule 126, which talks about eligible, what is an eligible voyage. In this case, you will very well be coming under this scenario where you will be leaving your Indian port on an Indian flagship, and the date you board your ship, that day and the entry date of your CDC will be counted as the day of leaving India or the days outside India. Uh, Now coming to the another question of you only, ki what happens ki if I went from Mumbai to Australia, and say from there I went to Dubai, and from Dubai I went back to India. Now see, in this case, it is basically it will not cover the voyages which is your Bombay voyage to Australia and your voyage of that Dubai sorry, Mumbai to Australia, Australia to Dubai, and Dubai to India. So your voyage of India to Australia and Dubai to India will be covered under eligible voyage. So those dates are definitely going to be counted. But what about the days when you are shipping from Australia to Dubai? See, in this case, we have two scenarios. In one scenario is that I have not left the ship. So if you have not left the ship, then you are very well on the
Covered.
ship only, and it will be treated as ki you have sailed out from India and you are coming back to India. But what happens ki if you have landed on the land of say Australia, and
I disembarked. I came out of the ship and disembarked.
you came out of the ship,
Yeah.
then your CDC will be I think
Yes, I'll
the
be discharged from
discharge, you
the
will
ship.
be
Yeah.
discharged from the ship.
Yes.
So in these case, we have to very carefully analyze case by case ki, what was the purpose of your visit in Australia first. And again, there will be a second part to this is your voyage from Australia to Dubai. Now, Australia to Dubai voyage is not an eligible voyage, but as I said in my,
No,
I can
I'm
show you.
sorry. When you say voyage, you are telling me it is I'm on a ship, or you're saying that I just go from Australia to Dubai. What is it? Just can you clarify here?
Yes. See, when I said you left the ship, then that was my first leg. Ki you
Okay.
have left the ship, and then we have to analyze ki what purpose you have left, for what purpose you have left the ship, yeah, in the Australian grounds. And
Okay.
my sec
Let's say I got down in Australia to see a cricket match, and five
then
days later.
then that will not be counted in my my days of because that will be a recreational purpose. But say for a purpose that you have been to Australia, and you were discharged from the ship to take all the essentials for the ship,
Okay.
or for some any official purposes. So in these cases, when you are on duty, but you have left the ship and you were on duty, which is bound by your contract of employment, these days will also be counted in my eligible days out of India. So it is very important to know ki what is the purpose of your visit, and also you have to prove that visit by showing some valid contracts or some valid employment papers. Ki your purpose was not only for is not for vacation or recreational purposes, it was for on an official duty. Now the second leg is you onboarded the ship from Australia and you went to Dubai.
True.
Now, as per our rules, this is not an eligible voyage. For a voyage to be an eligible voyage, it should be from India to any outside port, or from outside port to India. Now, for this purpose, when you were from you boarded on a ship in Australia and you were going to Dubai, don't worry, your your days will be counted. There's nothing to
Yeah,
worry.
because my CTC will still show that I've joined in Australia.
Australia, and
And
you are very well going to Dubai.
yeah,
Ha. But for these purposes, you should be very careful कि your passport should be properly stamped. When you land at Dubai, when you land at Australia, and you are going on the lands of on the non custom ports or non custom territories of Australia, means where you have to get your immigration stamped, then it is very important for you to re-stamp that passport कि you have again uh, left the Australian lands. And hello, and also your CDC must be having that date of joining.
okay. One relevant question which has come here, which of course I know we are going to talk about. See, there are times when we go to a foreign country. Let's say, we have to join a vessel in Singapore.
Okay.
We have to join. Of course, I'll make a distinction between an Indian flagship and a foreign flagship, first of all. So first, we'll talk about an Indian flagship. We have to join an Indian flagship in Singapore, and we go there, but the ship is delayed. And the ship is delayed for, let's say, 5 days, and we are staying in a hotel in Singapore, waiting for the ship to join. When the ship comes, we join the ship, and our CDC is stamped. So now there is one passport entry, one is CDC entry, but these dates are too different. So how
Correct.
do you deal with the starting date of the NRI time for this?
In this situation, very well, as I said, ki the income tax only matters is what was your purpose. In your example only, let's say you left on 15th of March and you were on for 15 days in Dubai only, for in Singapore, sorry, in Singapore only, waiting for your ship to depart from this Singapore port. Now for this period of 15 days, first you will be get paid for these 15 days. So one consideration is ki you are getting an income.
True.
Second, this the waiting period of this 15 days is not because of your any your
Legal
purpose or
influence
your
or the-
vacation purpose. This 15 days was bound by your contract of employment. So it is very crucial to know ki, what is the purpose of your visit. So in your example only, you said na ki your ship was delayed for 5 days. So these 5 days will very well be counted in your this calculation purposes. uh, Let me clarify, and or I rather say ki I will make a statement ki what all this stamp days means. So see, we have two documents. One is my passport and one is my CDC. So what is the when I am getting my say when I am getting my immigration stamped on my passport, then what is the relevant of this CDC?
True.
You will be matlab, you many would be thinking ki what is the purpose of then this CDC when I am getting an immigration stamp on my passport.
There is one question here. So I suppose Captain Naveen has asked, so dates on passport matters or the dates on CDC matters? Captain Naveen has asked one question. So
Uh, that
please.
that that that's, that was what I am going to answer. Okay, see what happens when you get your immigration stamp of on your passport. It is a proof that you have left the country.
True.
Correct. Now, for when you get your stamps on your CDC, that means the date when you have joined the ship.
Correct.
Now, say I went to Dubai, so I will get a date stamped on 15th of March on
Okay.
Dubai.
Okay.
When I leave the Dubai port, the Dubai authorities will again stamp my passport. The person has left Dubai,
Yes.
and so it is basically the chain from which date to which date you have traveled. Now, in our shipping business, we travel in high seas. High seas are the area where there is no jurisdiction.
True.
So to prove that we were on a duty and we were not back to in India, or we have spent this much of time in sea, we have to get the relevant document for that. And
True.
so as you will as we will move forward, you will be seeing that this CDC has an importance in income tax also.
Okay. One last question before you move on to the next slide. Just to get a clarification, long time back, I remember, of course, I stopped sailing 15 years back, though I was managing crew, so we had their issues of finances to be dealt with. So I was still in touch with what is happening. But I remember 1 year or somewhere where I was falling short of some days or something, and then my somebody had told me that you can always go to Colombo or you can go for a holiday, and that 6 days will add up to your NRI status or something like that. So if I just go for a holiday to Colombo or Hong Kong or Singapore or something like that and come back in 6 days, does it count as your part of your income
No,
tax?
I technically you have to prove that you are on a employment,
Hmm.
because that is not the case ki you can go on a vacation to just to fulfill your NRI days.
Okay.
Because you have to show ki if even if I am going to Colombo, then Colombo is only for my business or employment purposes.
Okay. We'll take
You
one
can
last question just now here. And before you move on, that is how about training days outside India covered within the contract of employment? I would tell Captain KK Purbe that, sir, there are many ifs and buts, as Anmol said, that very, very carefully, if you're not actually sailing on a vessel and you are not actually finishing your NRI time, then people like Anmol and we can sit together and see what you did, like what you have very clearly said, the training period you have gone, but under a contract of employment. Now, as soon as you tell there is a contract of employment, things get sorted out very easily. Anmol, please, if you can take it from here.
I can surely say that if it is mentioned in contract of employment, it will get matlab, a sort of relief for him. But we have to see the contract, because
Yeah.
there is a very much a possible situation that in my employment of contract, it may be written ki you have to undergo such a training, and for this training periods you will be not as our employee, but you will be as ki we are just training you, we are giving you some education purpose, or we are just testing ki are you fit for our voyage or something like that. So you
Let's
have to,
continue. Yeah.
we have to see what is in the contract actually.
So let's move on with it. Captain KK Purbe, I hope later on we can get in touch. Let's move on to the other topics because we have kept it for 1.5 hours maximum this. So we cannot stick to one point, but we will certainly discuss with you. You can call us and we'll take things ahead. So, okay, please continue
As
on the
I
next
said,
slide.
that this income tax is full of if and buts, so we have to test each and
That
every
is why you are,
scenario.
Anmol, that is why you are here na, to help us to get the ifs and buts in our favor. That is first important for us. Okay.
I can surely do that. But with that, I think I we should move forward. नहीं तो we have many situations ki which can be they be for any if and buts. So
Yeah.
moving forward, now coming for our explanation two, our explanation two is for our foreign bound ships, which are foreign flag ships. So being a citizen of India and a member of crew of a foreign bound ship leaving India, the period or the periods of stay in India shall, in respect of such voyage, be determined in the manner and subject to such conditions as may be prescribed. Now, for Indian ships, it is very much clear ki what have to be done. But for foreign ships, they have made some rules. Like in Rule 126 only, we cover what we have to do for the foreign ships, and also we get actually from my practical experience, I can what I can tell is see, the AO is a person, the assessing officer in income tax who send you the notice is a guy who knows what is in income tax. He does not know what is in this merchant shipping act, and because of that only he never understands what the meaning of an Indian ship is, or what's the meaning is a foreign bound ship is. I have seen in some cases the AO interpreting Indian ship as the ship which moves in India only. So uh, we are very much uh, in a situation कि we have to give the AO a legal opinion or something like that कि what is an Indian ship or according to this merchant shipping act, or what is an foreign bound ship, because when we get notice and when we fight to AO for clarifications, each and every word of this act matters. Moving forward, I what I can say is for this foreign bound ships, there is a rule prescribed, which is Rule 126, and here is Rule 126.
I would like to just clarify here for people. Anmol, one of the things which we do, we often go abroad to study and for our exams. And somebody just asked that if we only go for studying, is that ever considered as a part of NRI status, or it is considered as a part of non-employment time that you are spending abroad?
Again, with the purpose of your studying, if you are going only for the purpose of studying and it has nothing to do with your employment contract, then I can say ki then we have to test in the normal criteria. See, I can very well clarify this. I can show you on my first slide. See, what you are saying here is a residential status. As I said, ki your passport, your citizenship does not matter until now. In Finance Act 2020, we had a provision where they linked with your Indian citizenship. That is from April 21 only. But before that, or as of now, the residential status were determined in this criteria. So in this criteria, if you have gone outside India for studying purposes, then you have to test both the criterias. first, if you have spent more than 183 days outside India, then that will, which in our shipping case sufficients the criteria for NRI, will not be the case. In that case, if you are going out for studying or some other purposes other than this shipping business or some employment purposes, then you have to test first ki you are more than 183 days out of India in the current financial year. First thing. Now, if you are although more than 183 days out of India, or then for the studying purpose, what we are talking about, you have to also see ki in the last 4 preceding years to the financial year, or as in the language of text, to the previous year in which we are of which we are evaluating, in the last 4 years you were only 365 days or or less present in India. So it is not ki only seeing this year will be sufficient. You have to see ki what happened in the last 4 preceding years, to which if you were in last 4 preceding years, you were in India for more than 365 days,
Yeah.
you will be an Indian citizen, although this year you went for a study.
So, okay, Anmol, let's move on. We have some very interesting questions for you later on, which we can answer later. But for now, let's move on to the next slides. Let's finish off the basic structure that we have discussed to talk.
1 second. So let's see rule 126 of income tax rules. So what it says ki for the purpose of this clause of section 6, what I have mentioned, clause 1, an individual being a citizen of India and a member of a crew of a ship. Now here you will see that they have mentioned ship, not an Indian bound ship or a foreign bound ship. This rule applies to both a Indian bound ship or a foreign bound ship. It is very
Mhm.
well mentioned that the period for stay in India will not include what is mentioned in my sub rule 2. And what is mentioned in my sub rule 2? My sub rule 2 says that the period refer to in sub rule 1, matlab the above one, shall be the period beginning on the date entered in the continuous discharge certificate, which is my CDC, in respect of joining the ship by the said individual for the eligible voyage, and ending on the date entered on the constituent on the continuous discharge certificate in respect of signing off by the individual from the ship in respect of such voyage. Now, as I said, in income tax we interpret each and every word very minutely, and for each and every word there are many case laws. Let's not go into that detail, but I can surely interpret this for you. Is this ki if you are a crew member of any ship and you have left left for an eligible voyage, then the period of your CDC, which is my joining date and my leaving date, discharge date, will not be considered as my days in India. Means these days will help you to accumulate your NRI days. Now, moving forward to the explanation to this rule, is this what is this CDC mean? So CDC will have the same meaning as assigned in merchant shipping CDC comes Seafarers Identity Document Rules 2001, which is made under again my Merchant Shipping Act. And what is in my eligible voyage? What I was talking about earlier, what is my eligible voyage? As per income tax, my eligible voyage is a voyage for the voyage having originated from any port in India and has its destination any port outside India. Second, and for a voyage having originated from a port outside India and has its destination at any port in India. So what this income tax wants to say or wants to clarify,
Let us
this
take an
rules.
example, Anmol, and then it would be easier for us to talk about it like that. Let's take an
Correct. So
example.
we can take an
Yeah.
example. Surely, in our
Yeah.
case, say I have left on an whether in an Indian bound ship or an foreign flagship from Indian Mumbai port to say Singapore. So now this voyage of my Indian port to Singapore is an eligible voyage. So for this period of my voyage, see, you have to accumulate your NRE days. Now NRE days cannot be accumulated only on based on CDC. Many factors are important to be examined. So just for your days on ship, your CDC will matter. It is very clear कि on the day of your leaving port from India to outside India, or and for when leaving your outside India port for India, for these days your CDC will matter. For other days of NRE, we have to test again, as I said, for each and every criteria, each and every condition, the passport days will matter. The date stamped on your passport. So according to this rule, for an eligible voyage, you need to have your CDC as per your this merchant shipping rules. A proper CDC should be in your possession with all this joining date and discharge date clearly mentioned in it.
Okay.
I
Let us take one small example here. For the voyage having originated from any port in India has its destination in any port outside India. We had already discussed that Bombay to Australia thing, correct?
correct. So
Yeah.
this is what I was saying.
This is what we have discussed. Let's move on. For the voyage having originated from any port outside India has as its destination any port in India. So let's say we join a vessel in Dubai and we are coming to India, and there is some more complications here, Anmol, actually. Let's say we joined a vessel in Dubai. The vessel comes to Mumbai. Vessel from Mumbai goes to Chennai. From Chennai, it goes to Kolkata. From Kolkata, it goes to Singapore. Now, what we have is one leg is in foreign waters, then we continue in Indian waters, and then we go to foreign water area. Now, in this period, let's
Okay,
also
okay, okay.
clarify.
I got your example.
Huh.
So let me clarify this. See, when you move from Dubai to Mumbai, this period is very much eligible, and this will be counted in your NRE days. Now, the second leg, which is very important, which is from Mumbai to Kolkata, or Mumbai to Chennai and Chennai to Kolkata. Now, all this period, your ship will be taking a domestic ticket. Matlab they will be on a
They
domestic
change
voyage.
into an Indian coastal voyage, basically, what they say.
What I want to say is they change into an Indian coastal voyage.
Yeah.
Whenever your ship changes into an Indian coastal voyage, and or you come to an Indian port, your NRE day counting will be stopped. So the period you spend from Mumbai to Chennai and from Chennai to Kolkata will not be counted in your NRE days, and it will be treated as you were on Indian land only.
Okay.
Now again, when you said ki, as you said ki you went from Kolkata to Singapore, you will be changing to your international status. Then those dates will be counted. Although for this all this thing to happen, there can be two scenarios. It may be a continuous voyage, or it can be a break voyage. Means there will be a multiple CDCs. But I want to just clarify this. Whichever is the scenario, either it is a continuous voyage or it is a break voyage, the rules remain the same. Whenever you touch Indian port, the days of counting of NRE status will stop.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, let me now take what
So
is
before Anmol, one question was there. Are we talking about the latest IT Act, which has been recently after budget? This is one question by somebody, which
no see, that is an interesting question, because I'm getting a lot of questions of that. uh, our next slide, which in the slide which is being presented on the screen, is about that only. What amendment has come in my Finance Act 2020, which is my latest act, as you said. And for this clause, what we have came, what our finance minister came with, was very interesting, and say very negative clause for a seaman. But I want to clarify this, ki although they have come up with this provisions, they have come with a clarification also. They have made a press release for this also. So what I was talking is relevant for upcoming financial years also, as the amendment which came in this my finance act is now no has no relevance for a seaman. So if we are talking about a seaman, the provisions remains the same what it was earlier and what is in my next years. So let's start with what relevant amendments have come in my finance act 2020, and all the amended which are important for seamen only.
Mm.
There is a lot. A Finance Act 2020 is big act of around 86 pages, but only these clauses in the residential status is important for a seaman. Now, what amendment they have made is, they have inserted a clause 1A in after clause 1. My clause 1 was all the residential status which we talked about, and they have inserted a clause 1A which said ki nothing contained in the clause 1, matlab nothing relevant to if anything contained in clause 1 will be irrelevant. And if an individual being a citizen of India, as I said, they have come with a citizenship of thing in this 1A. If he being a citizen of India and having total income other than income from foreign sources, means your foreign source income will not be included. Means all the income which you have derived from a foreign owned business or foreign owned entities will not be included in this calculation. If other than that income, your income is 15 lakh rupees or more during any previous year, then that
Mm.
shall be deemed to be a resident of India, and not only resident, resident and or an ordinary resident.
Ordinary. Yeah.
Means you will be taxed all the income, whether it will be a foreign income or a Indian income. It will be taxed. It will come into the tax of Indian laws. uh, and if he is and what it has clarified in the second line, if you have not paid tax in any other country, which our cement do not do, they have a tax free income, so then that income will be taxed in India. Now when this clause came, say for example a seaman is having a Indian income of say 20 lakh rupees, then just seeing this amendment, his foreign income, his seaman earned income will also be taxed in India, and that too with an ordinary resident status, which will be a huge tax burden for our seafarers. But and the second line is what explanation they have given ki what is a foreign source income, but they have come with an clarification. Rahul, Captain Rahul, could you please open this Acrobat document, or I am having this document, I can read it if you
Yeah.
want.
I would just wait. Let me try and see if I can.
Uh,
I'm
no problem. Let me read you what this finance bill clarification, which was a press release, and this release was on 2nd February 2020. So they have come up with a clarification that this act, this amendment made in my Finance Act 2020 is only an anti-abuse provision, and if any person who is a bona fide worker in other countries including my Middle East, or who are not liable to tax on these countries, or who is a seafarer, means who is in high seas, or all this person, then they will be, then for their income it will be earned, it will be considered as this provision is null and void. So what they have clarified is what was the basic idea behind this amendment is ki there are many situations in which people cheat income tax department by using this NRI status.
Yeah,
But
going
our
for a holiday to Switzerland.
Switzerland, for example, they go to a for go- going go for an holiday to Switzerland. All their business or all their things are in India only, and they say they go and settle. A person from their family goes and settle to Switzerland and stays there for 5 years, and from the sixth year, they will be the business run on his name will become non-resident business, or all the incomes from these Indian sources becomes a non-resident business. So just to pick out this particular nitty gritty of this cheating thing, they have come with this amendment, and which they again I said they have clarified that a bona fide worker like our seaman who has a valid CDC and valid employment contracts and valid documents to support his claim that he is a bona fide worker has nothing to worry about this amendment or these clauses.
Let's move ahead with these slides, Anmol, because there are a lot of questions which I'm noting. And let's move ahead with the slides.
Okay, let's move forward to our next slide, which I have named as my Mythbusters, and it is my from my practical experience. Ki what all questions I get, the I am talking about the non-resident person. If many seafarers have a thinking that I am a non-resident as per income tax, and so my CDC need not to be preserved. Means I have completed my voyage, and and this now this CDC has no value for me, but that is not a case because as I am having my passport for proof. But as I said ki, this CDC is a very relevant document for my things to be proved to the income tax authorities. And as I said sorry, as I said in my income tax, it is very well mentioned that CDC signing date and sign off dates is needed to be there to prove that I am having a non-resident status. Second, contract made for employment is just a formality and has nothing to do with my income tax. Then again, this point, as I said, ki your contract of employment is very important document. As whenever you go out for a training, or like we had example ki I have gone out for a training. So if it is not mentioned in your employment contract, it will not be considered as your employment thing, and it will be taxed and in a different manner. Matlab, your last 4 year taxation will come into picture. So your employment contract should be thoroughly read, and also it should be in a good state. Third point, which is very common, key all my income is exempt when they whether from India or outside, but that is not the case. Your in your income relating to this your shipping business, what you have earned from your in NRE in your NRE account is only tax free. All the income which you have derived from India, whether it will be your dividend, your interest, or say you have got some rent from any property, or you have sold any house, and or all the things which are covered under income tax act, it will all be taxed in India, and you have to file a proper income tax return showing all of this incomes. See, let me share one of my practical experience. One person has not just he has invested in say this mutual funds. Now, income tax has many criterias to identify the persons who are not filing income tax. Say you are not filing income tax and you are purchasing mutual fund for say 40-50 lakh rupees. Then how can it be possible ki you are doing such a huge investment with zero income? So they send notices especially to these type of people. So,
One,
uh,
one
Captain Rao.
question here, Anmol. There are also options where if you declare that you are investing as a NRE or NRI, and you declare that you are using that NRE account to invest in the stocks or the mutual fund or any other such area, the income accrued out of it, what is that? Is it again a NRI income?
Again, what I was saying, ki your income you have earned in your NRE account is only tax free. But
Hmm.
what Captain Rahul you are saying, ki I have earned rupees 50 lakh in my NRE account. Now I have invested this 50 lakh rupees in some equity shares, or I have invested this in my mutual funds. So the income derived from this mutual fund or this equity, which is dividend, or if I get some money from my as an interest, then all this income, either dividend, either interest, since they have accrued in India only, they will be taxed in India, and you have to file income tax return for that. What that was I was saying ki in many cases our seamen get a tax notice just because they have not reported this interest income of say a small interest income of say 100 rupees only. Because when income tax scrutinizes, they see ki although their interest income is just 100 rupees, but their bank account is being credited by such a huge amounts. So they, without seeing all the things ki he's a seaman, or because they don't have such specific knowledge about what is the nature of this person, they straight away seeing such huge amounts or such huge foreign transactions, they send away notices.
Okay, very one thing very relevant. Unfortunately, I have to bring this word here, which it is a reality right now, is COVID. Is there any taxation benefits or exemptions or anything because of COVID which has been announced or told, or it is still not? It's like
Actually,
a force major
actually,
for
there
the
is only
contract.
one COVID clarification that has come from department, but that is
Hmm.
not relevant for our seafarers. What that explanation, what that clarification was for the persons who have visited India, means the foreigners who have visited India and are stuck in India because of this COVID-19. For them, they have issued the clarification. But for our seamen who has gone out of India, and because of the COVID, maybe they have stuck on some seashore or some other things in other country, they have not come up with the some explanation for that. But as I said, keep interpreting my as of now, because I think the department will surely come up with something. But as of now, if there is no clarification, we can very well take a stand that the person has left Indian border or Indian land for employment only, and just because of the COVID he was stuck, that is another case. But but they have left the Indian soil or Indian land for the purpose of employment, means they had gone to some that country or other country to bound a ship only. They have not gone for a vacation or some other purposes.
Well, just for the benefit of the audience, next Sunday we have the next episode 5, in which we are going to deal with the various contracts, the various changes, and what all we are going to face as part of the new contracts, force majeure issues, frustration issues, and how the industry, basic industry as such, the shipping industry, not the ships though, would change in their nature of work, and how IT systems, how digitization would happen much more than expected and much quicker pace also. So that is just information for you. Okay, anything else we need to continue, or we to go on to the question answers?
One more thing,
Yeah.
there is also very important point to note ki see, a person has an only a non-resident income. So what they believe is ki since I am not having any income from my Indian source, I need not file ITR. See, this situation is correct for the ones who are living outside India. Means a true non-resident who stays in Singapore and just come to India and has only outside income. For them, it is okay कि they don't file ITR. But for our seamen who is living in India, who are planning a retirement after retirement life in India, they should file their ITR even with their NRI income being tax free, or all the things they should file. They should intimate the department that we are having a tax free income, because these documents are very important when they go for a, say when you go for an housing loan, or you report to other authorities proving that this is my income. You need to show you need to show your ITRs. So if you are not filing your ITR, then that will be a very bad situation for you when you will be needing them, because you can only file ITR for the last 1 year.
Okay, this was one question recently. Some people have not filed it for a long time, 2-3 years. So what do they do if they have not filed for 2-3 years and they just thought that no zero income and zero taxation and all, so they didn't bother to file their ITR. So what do they do in that case?
As I said, ki you can file ITR only for last 1 year. Now let me clarify you what does this mean. See, for financial year 18-19, you can file your ITR till with late fees, but of course till 31st March 2020. In this COVID situation, income tax has come with a clarification to extend this date to 30th June. But in a normal situation, you can file an ITR for a year, say for 18-19 till 31st March 20 only. And if you want to file an ITR of say 17-18 in this financial year, it is not possible for you to do so. So one must be very clear ki they need to file their ITRs. Now coming to the second leg of question, what you have asked, ki say I have not filed my return for 10 years. Can I file it now? Yes, you can very well file it now for this year, or max to max for a year ago, means for financial year 18-19. So there's no problem in filing an ITR, even if you have not filed for such a long period and you had you had such income or such tax-free income. So I would rather recommend to please file your ITRs,
Better late
because
than never, something like that.
uh,
Better late than never. So let us, even if you have not been doing it, let us do it now and not delay the whole process of getting filing an ITR and making the best benefit of filing it once you stop becoming an NRE, NRI, whatever it is. And there are a lot of issues that you can face if you do not file your ITR while buying a property or while buying a BMW car, of course. Once you can have enough money.
let me clarify you one thing. How the whole process of this notice works. It is
Yeah.
very important you to know what income tax dues. See, if you are going to buy a BMW, say
Mm.
for a person who is earning just 5 lakh rupees, and if he goes to buy a crore rupees car, then that is surely a matter ki he must be in a profession where there is a lot of money, which is either not taxable or he is not paying the tax. So all these little things, like I mentioned, ki one of my client just got a notice because he made an investment in mutual fund. So income tax is having an excellent artificial intelligence software which picks out these things, these irregularities, ki the person is not filing an ITR and he is making an investment of say 40 lakhs and 50 lakh rupees. Although you are correct on your part ki if you are having a
If I
not
don't have to
taxable.
pay tax, why should I file it? That's the point.
Correct. If you don't have to pay, just file a ITR, no
Hmm.
problem in that.
Hmm. So, but still, it is better to do it, correct?
Correct.
Okay, now what? Anything else from your side, Anmol? Because some people are waiting for question answers. So,
Yes, surely we can
can
move
we
forward, or if you want, we can we can discuss about this NRE, NRO, and savings account.
I would
But
suggest let's go to the question answers, and if
okay,
there are
let's take our question answers then.
okay, viewers and audience, if you can go to the shared notes, Anmol, can you open the shared notes?
Yes.
Okay, I have listed all the questions for you there. And audience, if I hope you can go to the shared notes, this is a very good system that this Gupshup is there. I would like to tell you it is one of our associate company, Brute Squad Services, who have given this, who have developed this Gupshup, and they have put it into commercial use also now. And one of the features which I liked about this Gupshup was this shared notes, where I just see I put all the questions there, and now for such a all the questions which were there are there. So now, Mr. Anmol, the boxing
Surely
match is
I can take these questions, and also I want to
rapid,
say
rapid
ki
round is there.
Also, I want to say that this platform is really good. As what is the main advantage I get as a presenter is I can see the you and all the other viewers also along with my presenting slide, which I am think I not none of the other platforms are presently offering. Nothing the less, but let's move to our questions. First is, if I want to start filing ITA income tax for this year, will my previous year taxes be checked? See, the process of checking of taxes is not which is disclosed by the income tax department. They check it on random basis. But surely, if you file a income tax return this year saying this ki this is my non-taxable income, they may assume ki the previous incomes which are coming in the same manner in the same account will be of the same nature. But again, the process being even if you don't file your ITR, there may be a chance ki they will send you a tax notice. So this is not related
And
that.
the tax notices, just to give you a brief on that, I hope you don't get one. But
Uh-huh.
if you do get one, do not just put it under the carpet. Don't forget it. Because today it is all very electronic. And tomorrow, when you go to pay something, they will immediately find out that you have not replied to a notice which has come to you. So it is
I would like to add to this, Captain Rahul, कि when the income tax department send you a notice, it doesn't mean कि they have just sent it for a formality. If you don't reply to that notice, or if you don't file your ITR, there is a provision of best judgment assessment in income tax. And what is this provision? Is this key in income tax? If the assessee is not replying to a notice or he is not giving any explanation, the assessing officer, means the income tax officer, is free on his will to assess your income and file your ITR on your behalf. And you will be in a serious problem of paying the taxes if he assesses the income. And he will go after your property and every single penny you have to recover his taxes. So it is in your best interest not to hide it under the carpet.
okay. Let's take the next question.
So if so,
If the superintendent go out for superintendent is that the people we work when on the when the offices, we are normally all of us are called superintendents. So if superintendents go out for dry dock audit, or they go out on a ship, for a short time, for a week or two, and if he happens that he completes NRI days, so let's say I go on ship, I go for 1 week, come back, 1 week, come back, but I'm basically a contract with the Indian company, but I go out and come back for work. And but this employer is in India, will the NRI days count? So let's say I complete 182 days out of India doing all this, but I'm employed by a company in India. I will
first
just I will just tell you one thing with my experience. The question is very relevant, but most of the time people do make you a contractual person with a foreign company. But let's assume here that you are employed by a company in India, then what you do?
see, in our this scenario, first you should be having a contract. See, a contract is very important. You must having a contract, as he mentioned. And you are going out of India, even for an NRI Indian company or a foreign company, but you are going out of India for the purpose of employment. So surely these days will be counted as your NRI days if you complete more than 100, either 183 days or more than 183 days in that year doing all this. And for this year, let clarify, it is not the calendar year, it is the financial year. It's from March to it's from April to March.
Okay, let us see the next question.
If I file my ITR this year, will they check my previous records?
Let us
Again,
speak
the
it loud.
first
Anmol, when let's speak the question loud so that all can understand which question we are at.
if I file my ITR for this year, will they check my previous records? Again, I said they can, if they can very well check your records even you don't file your ITR. So it doesn't matter you file your ITR or not, they can surely check your records for the past 7 years, or if there are foreign income involved, they can check your record for the past 20 years. Okay, so now moving to the next question. What if, for the above question, the employers are outside India and contracts and invitation letters are in place? Do we still need to stamp the CDC, or only passport days are sufficient to calculate NRI days? See, as I mentioned very clearly, the CDC days is the days you are on ship. See, when you carry a passport and your employer is either outside India or in India, but you are going outside for for some employment, your passport gets stamped. But do remember ki when you leave for a ship from that foreign country, it gets stamped as out again. So for the balance period of when you are out of that country and you are on a high sea or on a ship, the CDC is very important. So whether you are on an Indian flagship or a founder ship, that doesn't matter. Your CDC is very important for your shipping, for the days you are on ship.
Okay, Lyle, let me read the next question for you. How to determine record of ship to be in Indian coast or in foreign waters, as in CDC ship is stamped as foreign going? Okay, and let me explain this question to you, Anmol. Okay, when I had explained to you that thing, when a person comes from Dubai to Mumbai, from Mumbai he goes to Chennai on the ship, and from Chennai to Haldia, and Haldia to Singapore. Now, during all this time, especially if he is on an Indian flagship and the vessel has converted into an Indian coastal vessel, the CDC does not keep changing the dates. Date decides the starting date and the ending date only. And neither your passports are stamped that you have come to India and left India. So how will the income tax come to know that I have done, let's say, 15 days from Mumbai to Chennai to Haldia in my NRI period of whatever 180 days or 190 days, which I still there. So how will people come to know that this part leg of 15 days is there or not there? Which
See,
I can, if I can tell you one thing, what happens is that if you are working for an Indian flag owner, an Indian owner, the owners normally deduct your tax till the
correct.
time you complete your NRI, and they pay you the money of the NRI once you have completed the NRI. I have worked for an Indian flag vessel also. So what happens? This question is relevant because the company itself will deduct your tax and pay you. You don't have to worry about the income tax finding out you are in India or not.
See,
So,
in this question, the income tax will come to know because the customs is is under a taxation department, and all these taxation departments are very well linked. All these government departments are very well linked, and whenever you file, your ship will file that they are turning into an Indian ship or an Indian coast ship. Then all the crew member of that ship will also be turned into an Indian coast. Matlab they will be in India only. So all that algorithm and all that artificial intelligence is very well in place, and if they randomly select you, or if they select you for scrutiny, they will surely come to know ki you are in India or not. So and as I said, ki whether you are in whether you have boarded out the ship, or you are not landed on India, or you are on the ship only, that doesn't matter with you being in India or not. So
let's
those
move on to
that
the next question.
okay. If I take a large amount of money from NRE account and pay for my son's MBA, will be under a survey of ITR? See, in this thing, surely you will be under a scrutiny from income tax department, as you are paying a lot of money for an MBA fees. But as I said, ki you should file your ITR, and if you have filed your ITR and you have disclosed that this is my income, which is from my this tax free sources, then be assured that no one is coming after you, because you are a genuine person. You have not made some money with hawala or some other
Money laundering is
transactions.
not there or something like that, yeah.
uh,
Hmm.
okay, are the cadets stipend taxable,
Okay,
and
I
whether
let me
consider a
explain you
salary?
this question, Anmol. The cadets who go on board, they are basically not said that they are being offered a salary. They are being given an internship money, which is there, which always happens everywhere. So basically, it is the internship money and not a salary. So our
Okay,
question is basically,
for this I would like to answer ki, see, if your contract says that you are on an employment and just internshiping on that employment, then it will be covered as an employment thing. But say if your contract stipulates that this stipend is just because you are gaining some education, or for some other training purposes you are getting this stipend, then there is a provision in income tax under scholarship, in which the stipend is a tax free income. So
okay,
if you are getting such a stipend or such an thing, then that will be a tax free, but again I have mentioned that should be a for some educational purpose. The stipend you are getting or the internship you are doing is to gain some education or some skill, like in our marine you are a cadet, and you are getting this stipend as an education to learn this trade of how this shipping works. So it will very well be considered as a tax-free income.
okay. Let's move on to the next question.
If someone can't complete NRI
Which
this
one?
year
Can you
due to
read
COVID.
it loud? Which one you are
Ah,
at?
okay. If someone can't completed NRI this year due to COVID, so will there be any exemption for the individual? I am afraid ki no, the IT department has not come with any such clarifications. If you were unable to complete your NRI days, means I have to see in this situation. I am assuming the person is in India only, and he has not moved out of India for employment. The days he is unable to go outside India will be counted as days in India only as of now, because the department has not come with any clarification yet for
Okay,
COVID situation. Okay, on sale of property, TDS of 1% is to be paid. Okay, is the same the case in seafarers and NRI, or some other rules as applicable? For this question I would like to answer ki when you sell a property, the person who is paying you money, if it is above 50 lakh rupees, they will deduct a tax of 1%. See, the property is situated in India only, and even if you are an NRI or you are a seafarer, the income tax will not change for you, and you will be taxed as capital under capital gain of income tax for the said property. So the TDS is just a tax deducted at source. It is not the income tax you are paying. It is a money deducted by the person who is paying you more than 50 lakh rupees for your property. You have to file an ITR saying this. I have if it is a long term capital gain, means if you are having a property for more than 12 months, you have to file an income tax return saying that when I have brought this property, I have spent this much money. Then there is a whole procedure of uh, of giving the impact of this inflation to it, and that after that there is an amount. Then that amount is deducted from whatever amount you are getting, and the net amount you get is taxable under income tax. So there is a whole separate set of taxation rules for this property under this capital gain thing.
okay. Let's move on to the next one.
Okay. Uh, there is one more clause. If a person has an NRI status for the past 9 out of 10 years, yes, correct, then one resident year is exempted. Can you please advise regarding this? I am unable to get what exactly information the person is trying to seek. Let me clarify you what this clause is. This clause says ki if you are for a just come to in India for 1 year, say for the last 10 years, if you see the current year, for the last 9 years you were out of India, and just because for the vacation purpose or some other purposes you have come to India, and only this year you are becoming resident, then it is not correct to say, and on the subsequent 11th year you are going out of India, then it is not advisable to tax such a person. So I think this provision is not relevant for our seafarers, because they are all Indian citizens. And this NRI person, the person you are talking about here, is non-resident Indian, which is a person staying out of India. And is having an another country citizenship, and just because his parents or there is a lot of criteria mentioned in income tax, they are NRI. See, this NRI is non-resident Indians, and what our discussion is non-resident status. So these both things are very much different, and this clause is for NRIs. I'm not sure what he's trying to seek information here, so I think I should move forward to the next question.
Yeah, please.
What about income earned in India, which is earned through NRE slash NRI investments? Are they taxable if NRI status is maintained? If taxable, what are the exemption limits? Okay. See, in this question, you have mentioned two accounts, which is my NRE account. See, if you are getting some interest, which is just a saving bank interest on this NRE account, which is in my foreign currency amount, that is exempt. But if you have taken money out of this NRE account and you have invested in some securities, like for in equity shares, or you have made FD or some other things, surely the income derived from these securities or this FDs will be taxable. Again, one more thing he was trying, if taxable, what is the exemption limit? See, there is a chapter 6 in income tax act which talks about what all deductions you can get for the income derived. So after considering all the deductions, all the investments you have made, whether it is for tax free, that has to be seen on case to case basis. We will derive on your income, and then after that, considering what is your age and or what other criterias, you will be taxed on income tax slab, which is 2.5, it is exempt. 2 to 5, 5 lakhs, it is 10%, and so on. It goes on for and we are having a new status also, and all those things. So one have to clearly see what exemptions he can avail by seeing the chapter 6 and other deductions available to him. And surely you have to file an income tax return to claim refund of any TDS deducted. It is also, I want to clarify at this moment, you see, TDS is just a money deducted. It is not the tax levied upon you. There may be a situation ki you are having a tax free, you are in a tax free exemption limit. Say you have earned only 1 lakh rupees from Indian sources, and all the other sources are from foreign sources, which is tax free. And your bank has deducted income TDS on this 1 lakh amount or some odd amount. You can very well claim a refund of this TDS deducted by filing an ITR. So it is not key TDS deducted is a tax levied on you. It is just a tax deducted from you for the time being, until you file your ITR with your proper statement and proper income details and proper tax amount. Okay. Our next question is ki Indian ship coastal run but CDC stamp as foreign going, 10% TDS as by company. How about the remaining tax as the tax code? I'm not getting. I have to see this question in detail. I want to know ki what the person who is in this ship, Indian ship, is it a foreign going ship or it is a coastal run only? See, if it is a foreign going ship, uh, uh, I think he is in a coastal run, but does the CDC is stamped as foreign going, so he will be taxed in India. If he is a coastal run only, means he is roaming from one port to another port of India only, then he will be taxed as per the income tax. And for again, he said he's been deducted 10% TDS. And what about the remaining tax? It is key, he has to file an ITR in which he has to declare all the income he has derived from this domestic coastal run, what I am getting, all the income he has derived from this domestic coastal run. And then after applying all the deductions of chapter 6 or other provisions of income tax, we will come to a in for a amount of tax. And from that amount of tax, after deducting what amount he has already paid as TDS, he will either get a refund or he have to pay some more tax. Okay, moving to to the next question. If I have a Portuguese passport with OCI, okay, with Indian CDC and Master COC. Am I considered a resident of India for IT purpose if I stay in India for more than 183 days? Nobody has managed to clarify this. Can you please clarify if possible? See, for a Portuguese person, we have a special provision in income tax that if you are a Portuguese person, you have to fulfill some criteria to become resident in India. Surely, as you mentioned, you are spent more than 183 days in India, so you will be taxed as an Indian person because you are having that special Portuguese status. But again, as I am saying this, I need to see all the documents and all the position in detail to see what the person is trying to clarify here.
We will need to check, as very clearly said,
Uh,
that it is not a very simple thing. So, okay,
that is a very complex
one
structure
last
for that.
question. One last, is there any limit to cash withdrawal from your NRE account in a year? Anything is there?
No, there is nothing for you to withdraw in this year in INR. But if you have to send outside India, then there is a limit of 1 million US dollars. But as you said, ki you need to withdraw the money to in India only, na? In INR,
Yes.
you
In
want
India
to
only, you need to withdraw the money. Yeah.
you need to withdraw the money in INR only. See, from an NRE account, you can very well go to a foreign land and withdraw money. But what I am assuming the person is saying he wants to withdraw money in India, so there is no limit in withdrawing money in India. But he wants to withdraw if he want to withdraw in foreign land, then there is a limit of 1 million US dollars.
Okay, one last question which we had to discuss, but I suggested to take a Q&A. Please explain where the income to be kept by seamen, NRI, NRE, NRO saving, which is best?
See, this depends upon person to person and what he wants to achieve with his income. See, when your income comes in an NRE account, it is a foreign account with which can be only operated by an NRI person or or the person having this NRI status. So all the income which is credited to this account is tax free. But in this NRE account, there is a one risk of foreign fluctuation. Since this amount remains in USD only in this account, you will be whenever the US dollars goes up or US dollar fluctuation goes down, you will get an impact of that on your money. From the any withdrawal from this NRE account in India is very much welcomed by Indian government because you are bringing foreign currency to India, so there is no problem in withdrawing any amount from this NRE account and transferring it to your savings account or your Indian accounts. Again, if you want to make an investment in India and you want to buy some property in India, it is very well advised to first transfer your money from this NRE account to your savings account, and again from your savings account you have to spend. Direct spending from NRE accounts is not prescribed, as it will be subject to it will then attract many provisions of FEMA and all the unnecessary regulatory things will come into picture. So it is very well if you want to spend some for some capital expenditure, you should always spend transfer your amount from NRE to your savings account. Now if you want to spend money in some foreign soil, it is best you spend it from your NRE account because you are having the amount in US dollar only, and you will get a benefit, get a benefit when you will not be facing any foreign fluctuation or foreign exchange fluctuations. So again, I am saying that this is a very vague question, and it depends on person to person, what he wants to achieve. Like when he transfer from to the amount from an NRE account to an NRO account. NRO account is basically a account maintained by foreign person, matlab our NRI person, in Indian rupees only. means he will not be getting a foreign fluctuation risk here, and this amount can be very well be withdrawn by him in INR without any problem. Or also he can have a joint holder as an any Indian citizen. But in NRE account, an NRE account, a NRI person can have a joint holding with another NRI only, not with any Indian citizen. So depending on these things, it depends ki where to keep your money. So one has to analyze this and all these things for when you do your financial planning.
One very quick question. There was a small confusion here. The money in your NRE account is in US dollar or it is in Indian rupees?
See, in NRE account, the money is although in US dollar or some foreign currency, but it can be only withdrawn in INR.
It can
See,
be withdrawn in.
you cannot withdraw that US dollar. You cannot go to bank and say, "Ki my account is having say 10,000 US dollars to give me US dollars." You will always have to withdraw in an INR only. And
Okay,
so
what?
what I was saying ki in NRE account, when you are having money in US dollars and say आज US dollar 50 rupees है और कल आप गए और कल US dollar 45 हो गया, तो what INR amount you are getting will depend upon कि US dollar to INR का क्या रेट चल रहा है in an NRE account.
Okay, but in a NRE account, you can at least make a draft or transfer money to some place outside in the USD. That should not be a problem.
Again, as I said, ki it should not be any problem if you are within the limits of 1 million US dollars.
Yeah. So let's say somebody wants to go for an education outside and he has got an NRE account and he wants to pay the fee of the college in UK or somewhere. So the NRE account can be used to directly pay that college in US, UK or US, wherever it is, in the foreign currency. But when you are going to withdraw the cash from the bank, you need to state the amount of rupees and the conversion rate of the dollar at that moment of time or
Will
something
come
like
into
that
the
would
picture.
come into
And
picture and then it would be there.
yes, correct.
Yes, I would request everybody to put on their cameras and I would like to thank Anmol. I know there are one or two other questions, but as I read, it is very, very specific and it cannot be answered in a generic way. And I would like to thank Anmol. I think there are some people who were not very happy with the response, but I'm sure once you contact us, once you are with us, and once we see your documents and we understand what you are actually wanting, maybe it will be much more easier for us to explain to you what you can do and what you cannot do. So I'm sorry if some of the questions could not be answered, and maybe with the limitation of the time, we have not covered everything that could have been covered under this. But what I tried was to try to take out the 6 most important issues of taxation which people should know. So with all due respect and on behalf of Nevoxel, our talent acquisition, recruitment and consultancy partner, Brute Squad Services, IT Solutions and Consultancy, and Winning Paths Real Estate Advisory. Anmol, I thank you very much for your time.
Welcome.
And if you have any other questions, I have already given my email ID. I have given you my number. I request you if you all can come on video, it would be great. And if you are in a bit of a hurry, now that already we have overshot half an hour to whatever we expected, but I think it's so kind of Anmol to answer most of the questions which I had not even put to him before when talking to him. So if everybody is happy with whatever we could have done, I'm sorry if some of you are not happy about it, but we will try our best next time. And next time when we are putting up such things, we request you to send us questions so that we can find out some generic questions and answer those as per the audience. But for now, we had just collected some of the questions. Anmol, I would request you to have the last word, and then finally I will say bye-bye to everybody. So your last few words for everybody.
Thank you all for such a patient listening, and I am very happy to have such an audience, which was interacting so much, and who even I was not expecting that Portuguese question at all, because it is very rare that there is a situation of a Portuguese person coming into an India, and it is very
No, no. Actually, that is something which let me tell you. In Goa, they have been given that special
yes, correct.
passport option of taking a Portuguese passport also. And quite a few friends of ours are from Goa, as you know that it is a seaman community, a big community there. So a lot of people have availed this benefit of taking a. I would suggest whoever had that question, I'm forgetting the name of the gentleman. I would request you to get in touch with us, and we will try to see the specific requirement that you had, and maybe we were not prepared for that answer. I'm sure, I can assure you that. And whatever best we could, we have done that. But we look forward for sorting out your issues in private. Yes, sorry, Anmol, last.
Thank you all for then. Hello,
Yeah, and
are you getting my voice?
yes, yes, you are there. You are there.
Uh,
Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for such
And
a patient listening.
yeah, our other
Uh,
partner, Mrs. Neetu, is also there. So, Neetu, if you would have, thank you for helping us promote the talk show. Your few words for us, please.
Hello, everybody. Hello,
Hi.
Anmol.
Hi.
Hello, Rahul.
Hi.
Hi.
And if everybody can
It
put on
was
their videos, we would love to have a chit chat for 5-10 minutes. No problem. We can. We have no limitation of the time. Thanks to Mr. Rachi here, who has given us this platform for using. So we have no constraint of time. We can always have a chit chat for 10-15 minutes on different topics. So if everybody can put on the video, it will be great to have all of you here. Sorry, Neetu. Please go ahead.
yeah, that's okay. I don't know how many of you are from our Navoxel group with myself and Rahul. Both of us jointly manage. Many of them have
Okay.
left, so not sure. Anyways,
Yeah.
so Rahul has already given us given an introduction about Navoxel. Yes, I had Navoxel, and I don't want to repeat the thing again and again since he's already introduced you about Navoxel. That we are into recruitment and executive search and a couple of other HR advisory services, and we specialize into maritime recruitment. And thank you, Anmol, for such a nice session. It was quite informative, and I really enjoyed the session.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Good evening, Captain, and good evening, Miss Neetu.
Yeah, good
Can you hear
evening.
me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
loud and
we can
clear.
hear you. Tell me, sir.
Yeah. Just one suggestion, if you guys can look into this. Whatever the discussions what we had, the synopsis, can you share after this meeting is over?
Yeah, sure. We would be happy to share the video also. I just got
Yeah.
it delayed by 5 minutes initially, but from that time the whole video is there also. We will share that with you on the group chat, and you can be there. And of course, we have given our email ID to you. You can always send us something, and we can get in touch to see how we can help you with other issues of taxation also.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's nice.
Right. I think the others, I don't know what has happened, but somewhere the video is not working for some of them, and it is getting stuck. I don't know if it is my IT issue or somebody else's. But hello. Okay, I'm not sure if there's some glitch. Good, it has happened at this moment when we have almost got over with the whole session. I would like to thank you, all of you, and we hope to see next Sunday with another topic on contracts and logistics and how things would be different in the logistic world for a period of time. And we'll find new ways to talk to lawyers and commercial people and find out how better the shipping freight forwarding world can work also during all this time. So on that note, I would like to wind up and say thanks to everybody who joined, and keep in touch with us. and we would be happy to share with you our knowledge and help you the best we can. Take care, sayonara, stay happy,
Okay, thank you. Bye
stay
bye,
healthy,
everybody.
stay happy. Take care.